Hi there, welcome back to the second day of this week's videos, and I've got to be honest, Wulfgar of Icewind Dale is another card I've been wanting to do for a while. I started playing Dungeons and Dragons many years ago now. Don't play as much now as I used to, but I've always had a thing about the Forgotten Realms, and I was really pleased when we started to see all of the Drit's companions appear, with Drit and Canterbury and Wulfgar and so on and so forth. And I've been waiting for a while, and to be honest, I picked up Wulfgar when it first came onto MTGO, and then I completely forgot about it until I was going through my cards for yesterday's deck and realised it was still there. So I figured, yep, need to correct that now and do Wulfgar. So here we go. Wulfgar is a 4/4 human barbarian for 3 green and red. Has melee, so whenever this creature attacks, it gets +1/+1 until the end of combat for each opponent you attack this combat. And if a creature you control attacking would cause a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers additional time. So this deck is really based around creatures that have a trigger when they attack. And yeah, why would you not want to do that with this deck? So, Wulfgar, here we go. This is what today's deck really does look like. Starting at the beginning, a couple of creatures that don't really do anything to trigger anything. So Birds of Paradise here for some ramp, along with Bristling Builds, chuck around some +1/+1 counters. Generous Plunderer doubles up when it attacks. It deals damage to defending player equal to the number of artifacts they control. Triggers twice, so chucking around the supplementary Dockside Extortionist, which I still pine for, is in. Goro is just here purely so we can chuck around the haste ability if we need to. Arnie Metal Brow, it has a mana cost, so it doesn't trigger twice, but you can pay the cost and see if you can do it that way. At least I don't think it does. The few practice games I've had this out with Wulfgar hasn't triggered twice, so I may be wrong. I may just be missing the trigger, but it shouldn't do. Chittering Dispatcher has Mirrored. If you remember, Mirrored is when you attack with this creature, it attacks as copy comes into play, attacking all the opponents, so you're not attacking with the original one. This one's nice, it leaves behind the Eldrazi spawn tokens, which help us ramp our mana, so that's here. Enduring Vitality's in, purely to give us a little bit of way of ramping through things. Tapping our creatures for mana if we need to is fine by me. Jolene, the Plundering Pugilist, is also in. Whenever we attack one or more creatures with power of 4 or greater, get a treasure token. This will trigger twice, so you'll get 2 treasures. And then you can pay some mana and sacrifice a treasure to ping things if you need to. Lalia, the Blade Reforge, also comes in. Whenever it attacks, you get to exile the top 2 cards of your library, assuming Wulfgar's in play. And then whenever one or more cards are put into exile from your library and or your graveyard, you get to put some +1/+1 counters on her. Polygoth comes in from the Thunder set and obviously has Trampler and Myriad again, so, you know, extra Polygoths attacking everybody is always fun. Duran of the Yawning Portal, we had to have another one of the cards in from Forgotten Realms land. Whenever he attacks, look at the top 4 cards of your library, exile a creature card from among them, put the rest on the bottom of your library. You can play it for as long as it remains exiled. It has Undaunted. It costs 1 less to cast for each opponent, so that does help. The background is irrelevant, but double trigger off this could be useful. Emberwild Captain, become the Monarch, and whenever an opponent attacks you while you're the Monarch, Emberwild Captain deals damage to that player equals the number of cards in the hand. Again, not a trigger with Wulfgar, but I wanted somewhere to have the Monarch, and I quite like this one. Enduring Courage is nice. It gives everything +2, +0, and haste when they enter, as long as it's in play. Goreclaw is obviously in, double triggering when you're attacking with creatures with power 4 or more. They get +2/+2 and trample. Not that the second trample makes any difference, but the extra couple of +2/+2 might. And some serious fun going back to the original Commander's Legends set where Hans Eriksson. Yeah. Double trigger off this probably means that Hans is going to die, but getting 2 creatures into play isn't the end of the world. Hellrider obviously does the double trigger. Whenever a creature you control attacks, it deals 1 damage to defending player. So, with Wulfgar in play, it triggers up again. Hero of Oxford Ridge is in for the Battlecry ability. I believe this triggers twice with Wulfgar. Again, I'm not sure, but if I've done my little bit of research correctly, it should work. So hopefully it does. I'm sure someone will tell me in the comments if it doesn't. Life of the Party definitely does, though. It attacks, it gets +X/+0 until the end of turn, where X is the number of creatures you control. And then when it enters the battlefield, if it's not a token, each opponent creates a token that's a copy of it, and they're goaded. So, double trigger for you. Can't complain with that, with the first striking trampling haste guy. Not going to moan. Rubble Pelt Raiders is an old school card going all the way back to Gatecrash, and when it attacks you get to put a +1/+1 counter on it for each attacking creature you control, with 2 triggers with Wulfgar in play. Tributary Instructor, whenever a creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it dies, draw a card, and it has Mental, so that triggers when it attacks. Dragonhawk Fate's Tempest also, when it attacks, you look at the top X cards of your library, where X the number of the creatures with power of 4 or greater, and you may play those cards until your next end step, and at the beginning of your next end step, if you've still got things in exile, you get to just ping each opponent for 2 for each one that goes into exile. Elder Gardegoth, when it attacks or blocks, you gain 3 life, get a beast, draw card. Goldspan obviously gives you treasures. Ilhag, the Raise Ball, lets you just put things into the battlefield, taps and attack it, and they go back to your hand at the end of it. And if this gets killed off, it goes 3rd from top in your library, so it happens all over again. Colonian Hydra, when it enters the battlefield with 4 +1/+1 counters on it, and whenever it attacks, you double the number of +1/+1 counters on it. So with Wulfgar, the first turn you attack, it goes to 16. Don't complain. Karluk, Fury of Avarice, whenever you attack, you get those extra combat steps. Nice. Lightning Runner, double strike, haste, and when it attacks you get a couple of energy, and then you may pay 8 energy and untap and get another attack step if you want to, but double energy gets you there quite quickly. Overlord of Haunt Runes for those lovely, lovely everywhere lands you get from it. Rubble Pelt, a Braggart, enters attacks. If it's not suspected, you may suspect it. A suspected creature has menace and can't block, so you basically get this straight away, but it's a bit of fun. Sinian the Calamity comes in, does the mirrored thing, deals combat damage to a player, destroy target artifact or enchantment that player controls. Atali, having lots of cards off the top of their library, is very good, especially with the double triggers. Inferno Titan basically does 6 damage to anything when Wulfgar's in play. Jedi Orov of Ojan of Ephra, I think that's how we say it. Attacks or blocks, you get a 2/2 green cat warrior creature token with Forest Walk, or you get 2 of them if Wulfgar's in play. Overlord of the Boiling Barges deals 8 damage to anything. Scourge of the Throne, if you attack the person with the most life, put a +1/+1 counter on it, and then whenever it attacks for the first time each turn, if it's attacking the player with the most life or tied for it, untap all your attacking creatures, get another combat step. Aetherwind Basilisk enters or attacks, you get +1, you get an energy counter for each creature you control, twice. And then you can just pay your energy to make the Aetherwind Basker completely humongous very quickly. Demolisher Spawn comes in as well from Duskmourn, Trample and Haste and Delirium. When it attacks, if there are 4 more creature cards amongst cards in your graveyard, other attacking creatures you get +4/+4 until the end of turn. Or with Wulfgar, double triggers, +8/+8 if I've done my reading correctly again. Drakenseth, the Maw of the Flames, attacks twice. You get to do 2 lots of 4, 4 lots of 3. Yeah, okay then. And Utravar, the Hellkite, whenever a dragon you control a catch, you get a 6/6 red dragon creature token with flying onto the battlefield. We've got a couple of dragons, but, you know, you can't complain too much, can you? Ramp-wise, Nature's Law, Rampant Growth, 3 visits, Cultivate, and then Ranger's Path and Skyshroud Claim to get us there even quicker. Jessica's Will gives us a way of getting some cards off the top of our library, some extra mana if we need it. And then Obscuring Haze, we can play this is for free as long as Wulfgar's in play, just to prevent all the damage that would be dealt this turn by creatures your opponents control, which is nice. Artifacts, ramp in the form of, well, Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, the medallions, the diamonds. And then we have Elixir of Immortality to shuffle everything back in when it goes pear-shaped, which it does regularly with my decks, unfortunately. Bitterthorn, Nissa's Animus is also here. Just remember this equipment, if you attach it to another thing, you get to go and search for 2 basics. So you do thin your deck out quite quickly. And then finally, Doors of Durin, whenever you attack, scry 2. Then you may reveal the top card of your library. It's creature card put into the battlefield, taps and attacking. Until your next turn, it gains Trample if you control a dwarf and Hexproof if you control an elf. Yeah. Enchantments, Beastmaster Ascension to double up on those counters with Wulfgar in play, so you get your +5/+5 quicker. The Case of the Trampled Garden also have creatures you control have a total power of 8 or greater, and then whenever you attack, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. It gains Trample until the end of turn. like that. Druid's Repository for even more mana. Garrick's Uprising for the card draw. Rhythm of the Wild for the riot ability of the +1/+1 or haste if you want to make sure you can get in and do your extra triggers. Wulfgar in play. Shadow in the Warp. First creature spell you cast each turn costs 2 less, which gives you a nice reduction off Wulfgar if he's been killed off. But whenever an opponent casts their first non-creature spell each turn, this deals 2 damage to it. Thank you, the wonderful stuff coming in from Warhammer 40k Commander decks. And then Uncivil Unrest. Right, again, doubling up on the damage for all creatures with +1/+1 counters on them. Lands, red and green, all the way through. Arena of Glory's here, just to give us that extra mana, even though it means we've slowed down for the next turn a little bit. Ways of searching out our basics, a little bit of pump with Castle Embereth, 6 forests, 6 mountains, the usual selection of other things are here. Reliquary Towers here, Temple of the False Gods here, because Wulfgar is expensive at 5, and then 7, and then 9. And then Yavimaya, Cradle of Growth, to make sure we have enough forests around all the time to cast all the spells we need to ramp with green. Now, I'm sure there's creatures I've missed, and I'm 90% sure the rulings I've checked out work with Wulfgar. I'm sure people will let me know in the comments if I haven't. But if you can, let me know if you think there's anything I should have included in the Wulfgar deck. I'm just pleased to see it, really. Be lovely if you can hit the subscribe button down below as well. 591 of you have so far, so thank you. There's 263 of you sitting on Twitch watching me play the games occasionally, so that's even better. There's a link to Twitch down below as well. So for now, thanks for watching. Take care. Remember what I said earlier. I am looking for suggestions of cards you want me to cover. There's a thing up in the community. Just leave me a comment on there and I'll get around to it. The first one of them is coming up tomorrow. But for now, thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day. Bye.